Jacob, hello, hello. It's been a while. The last interview was mid-April, so that's what April, May, June, July, August, September, coming up to 6 months. What? Six
Yeah,
months already? That's
it's
crazy.
it's been that long, and good to see you again, brother.
All right. So, what I had written about that last interview, just to give some context, is within 2 months, Jacob made over £9,000 by using lessons taught in the e-commerce and crypto campuses, all while working a full-time job. That was your situation back then.
Yep, correct,
Now,
correct, Mundo.
6 months later, how's everything going for you? How have things progressed?
Yeah, things have progressed pretty well. I did around £9,000. Then I've done just over like 160k revenue now, 6 months later. So yeah, things have snowballed a bit,
Hmm. Only a little bit, huh?
only a little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
But that's the thing. It's once you get the momentum going, that's what happens. Like I think the hardest part is getting started. Going from 0 to 1 is a lot harder than going from 1 to 10.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
that first step is hard.
And are you comfortable revealing how much of that revenue was profit total?
Yeah, it's about 20% profit margin. That's pretty standard in e-commerce. If you're doing 20%, that's pretty good. So about 20% of that's profit.
Which comes to what?
So like maybe about 35k profit.
Okay. Nice. Doing very solid for yourself. And that's in pounds as well. So convert that
Yeah,
to
that's
dollars.
pounds. So in dollars, probably like 50k dollars profit, somewhere around that
Yeah,
mark.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have that in terms of e-commerce. Are you still working a full-time job?
Yeah, still working a full-time job. I don't want to leave that yet. I don't think it's a smart move right now because of how new this is. This has all happened very quickly. As you know, our
Mhm.
last interview was 6 months ago. And I'm still very aware of how new it is. So although I'm making good money right now, I just don't think it's the right move yet.
Yep.
And as I say, like I've been doing this in my spare time, and I can still manage it in my spare time. But I am obviously aware as well. If I did quit my job and go full time,
Mhm.
I could see even better results. But right now, I just don't think it's too smart of a move.
Mhm. And you can't really complain about earning 35,000 on the side while having
Yeah,
another job.
exactly,
I mean,
exactly. This is the thing. It's although as I say, things could be better. Like I could be doing more if I was full time at it. It's really nice, and it's been in my spare time. And if I can continue doing that and set a nice foundation for myself, um, and really establish this business, that to me then is the time to walk away when I know I've got a safety net and things have been stable for a long time. But yeah, I can't complain. It's been very nice having the extra income right now.
mhm. Have you changed lifestyle at all because of that extra income, or do you just reinvest all of it back into e-commerce or do something else?
Honestly, though, it's not been too sexy to be honest. It's any money that's coming in. As I say, I'm trying to establish like a firm foundation here. I don't want to just take the money out, go spend it, and then not be able to level up. So any money I'm getting right now, it's going into leveling up. It's creating better assets for my business, or getting better ads, paying people to do certain things for me, things like that. So the money's going back in, but I'm hoping that the money that's going back in, it's going to pay me tenfold when it comes
Mhm.
back out again. Again, this is where the snowball effect has come into play, because I think a lot of people, once they see money coming in, they straight away just spend it. Where with me, I think as well, this sort of taught this in the real world. It's like be smart with the money. The business mastery course, teaches you good business principles. So yeah, I've been very focused on reinvesting it into worthwhile things in my business, and the proof's in the pudding, because how quick the business has grown and how well it's doing right now.
Mhm. Beautiful. Okay. And I had a follow-up question, which now completely slipped my mind. So I'll go
No worries.
into. I'll remember it as you answer this. So, in terms of average day, how has that changed over 6 months? Any differences?
Again, not a lot. To be honest, see now, probably compared to back then, my day is easier because back then when I first started, and my revenue wasn't as high, I was doing absolutely everything myself. That includes, responding to customer emails and returns and everything like that. But again, once more revenue started coming in and more traffic, I was able to hire people, outsource customer service, things like that. So looking now and 6 months ago, although I'm doing higher numbers now, for me personally, I'm not doing as much of the nitty gritty. I'm more focused on the tasks, the valuable tasks. So it's freed up like a lot of headspace for me, not dealing with the customers and things like that. So yeah, my day like hasn't changed all that much. As I say, I'm not moving to Dubai or anything at the moment, like, but yeah, it's got easier on me as the money's come in, and I've been able to use that to outsource tasks that I don't like doing, basically.
Right. So I guess you read my mind because that was actually the question that I said in my mind was, what did you outsource? I remember that you started answering. Let's
Yeah.
go a bit more into that then. What
Mhm.
when you say something you're focused on the more important things, what aspects of the business are they, and which ones did you actually end up outsourcing?
So for me, the first thing I outsourced was the customer service because dealing with customers via email, just I hate it. They're just nasty, and I just don't have time for that. So that was the first thing, and then social media moderation as well is another thing. I just don't want to be dealing with. So those are like the two first things I outsourced. Then also outsourced like video editing for like my ads because again it can be quite time consuming, and when you're working full time and you're also focused on the bigger things in the business, you just don't really want to be spending time on that sort of task. So for me, the big things to be focusing on are the things that bring in revenue. Um, you know, Planning out my creatives for my ads. Getting new products onto my store, or sourcing cheaper suppliers, renegotiating, things like that. So things that actually generate money, things that bring in money to the business and help it grow. That's what I'm focused on, and then anything else I'm focused on. Basically, trying to outsource it as quickly as I can to free up my time.
Okay, very nice.
Mhm.
Now, what would you say for changes in mindset? Because again, 6 months is quite a long time for someone who's working on themselves. I'm sure you've
Mhm.
seen some considerable changes, right?
Yeah. So the biggest shift in mindset for me is just seeing what's achievable. Like when we did our first interview 6 months ago, I think I did that 9K in the first 2 months. And at the time, I thought that was decent, like quite a lot of money. And like now I'm doing maybe like 60K a month. And I now realize how little even that is. Like the sea that you can pull from is just absolutely massive. And 6 months ago, if you told me I'd be in this position right now, I wouldn't believed you. I would have thought that's not really achievable for me. But now that I'm here, I realize like how unambitious I was, how much there is out there, and like how much I still have to go, and how much room there is for growth. Is crazy. I'm
Mhm.
still a little tiny fish in this pond, and 6 months ago, I would have thought doing the revenue I'm doing now, I would have been considered a big fish, but I'm definitely not.
Very interesting.
Mhm.
And now that you're more ambitious in a way, do you still think you don't truly understand the scope of it? Or are you actually seeing the scope now, which is why you're so ambitious? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand the landscape better now. Like, I know what sort of numbers are possible to do with like e-commerce coming in your first few years. Um, I understand the scope now. That's why I am more ambitious. Before, like when you first hear about people starting drop shipping and stuff, for I don't know why everyone gets in their head, if I could do 10K a month, that would be brilliant. And that was me as well. I was like 10K a month, that sounds amazing, and you're not really sure if it's achievable. But now that I'm sort of in the arena, if you like, and I see what's going on, I know the scope of, and I know the landscape. Because I know that now, I realize how unambitious I was. So yeah, it's knowing the landscape better now. I understand that the limit is basically unlimited.
Right. Okay. So a big part of it is as your skill set grows, income will grow, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
in that way, what would you say have been the most considerable uh, lessons you learned in those 6 months, which ended up scaling your store this much?
Honestly, it's the outsourcing tasks. For me, I'm someone who tends to be a bit of a perfectionist and don't like delegating tasks because I'm always scared they're not going to get done how I would do them.
Mhm.
But once I did it once, it completely changed things for me because it was like, okay, now I've got all this time where I was before like doing monotonous, stupid tasks. It just freed up all this time and allowed me, as I said before, to concentrate on the important stuff. And when I did that, that's when I saw a lot of growth in the business. Um, so that's honestly been the biggest learner for me, and the sort of skills I've learned around that, like how to actually go about creating a team to help you grow. That's been the biggest thing for me.
Mhm. Okay. And now for the future, what do you think you need to work on in terms of skills to scale even further? Or maybe
Things to
skills was
work
the wrong
on.
word, but what parts of the ecom business do you think that would help it scale further?
I think becoming better at the sort of whole creative process. Um, in ecom, the key to growing is your creatives and your ads. They're the main driving force. So if you can really nail those, that's when you'll do really well. Like I've seen it when I've had some ads that have hit really well. That's when you get big increases in revenue. So I think it's about refining that process, and again, this building a team around that process as well is something that I'm going to constantly need to work on. But I think that will be key to growing further is mastering that and maybe eventually completely outsource it. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing to work on for me right now.
When you say completely outsource, just the whole e-commerce, every step of it completely outsourced.
I mean, it's definitely possible, but like the terms of the creative process I was just talking about, I could first of all outsource one part of it, then another, and then basically train someone to do what I'm doing and just step away from it completely, and then I can focus on other things. So again, this has been the biggest shift in my mind, that this the whole outsourcing and building a team. Whereas before, 6 months ago, even when I did our first interview, that was not me. As I say, I was a perfectionist. I like to do everything myself, and you cannot grow with that mindset.
Mhm. Good. I like that. Thank you. That should be some good insights for the listener.
Yeah, hopefully.
What about physicality? Any changes there? Or have you been too busy?
No, like I've always kept a good gym routine and stuff like that. It was even the same before I joined the real world. It's something I've always been keen on, and I've saw the benefits of for a long time. So for me, that was never an issue for me. I've always went to the gym, kept fit, and that sort of thing. So physicality and stuff, I tend to keep in good shape anyway. So no real changes there.
Okay. So since you're on this trajectory, where do you
Hmm.
see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and long term?
Short term, I see myself leaving my job to focus full time on this, and then I think that'll then lead to um, sort of a lot more growth. And my long term goals for this are basically to be able to retire my mother, and I would say move away from this country, get out of the UK because it's a fucking shithole to
Yeah,
be honest.
I completely
Um,
agree. Fuck the UK.
honestly, it's
I was there
terrible.
for a long time, and now I'm very happy to no longer be there. Just everything
Yeah.
is better when you're not there.
Yeah, I'm not too bad in Northern Ireland. It's not as bad as like England, but it's still not a great place to be honest. So yeah, that would be a long term goal for me is basically get out of the country and be financially secure enough that I can do that without any worries, without having to worry how I'm going to pay the bills the rest of my life. I want to be able to basically have enough money and financial security to have complete freedom to make the moves I want to do on my own terms, and that will probably involve moving away from the UK.
Hmm. Okay, very cool. Now, usually I'd asked what has been the impact of the Tates on your life,
Mhm.
but very recently you've done an interview with Tristan himself. So, how was that experience for you?
Yeah, it was completely bizarre and surreal. I literally like today did the interview, like talked to Tristan. Only found out about it, as you know, a few hours ago. But yeah, like really nice to talk to him, and again, really surprising, and really sort of touched that he would have any sort of interest in my story. Um, so I think that's great that he actually does take an active interest in the students in the real world and cares about their progress. Obviously, it's good for him and his business if his students are doing well. But yeah, I was really surprised that he took the time out of his day to actually talk to me, get to know my story, and just find out what I did and what I'm doing. So yeah, it
Mhm.
was really really cool.
Again, just shows how much they actually care about their students.
Exactly. There's people that seem to think that like Andrew and Tristan, there's this people think they're like scammers or whatever, or they're just out to get people's money. It's like, why would someone like Tristan, extremely busy guy, has a lot going on. Why would he take the time out of his day to talk to someone like me if he didn't care at all?
Mhm.
I think it was a really nice thing of him to do.
Awesome. Okay. Love that. And what else do we have done? In terms of biggest challenges over those 6 months, would it be again just outsourcing or something else?
No, I'd say biggest challenges. Um, Basically just coming down to the learning the whole e-commerce um, landscape. There was many times where I hit road bumps where if I was on my own, it would have been game over. I wouldn't have known what to do. I just would have folded the business, and really not known where to turn. But having people that are experienced around you, you can tell them what's going on, and then 10 minutes later they say, "Oh, that's no problem. You just need to do this," and then the problem's solved. And that has been amazing. So for me, those challenges initially were really sort of scary. Some of the ones that came up against, some legal stuff and things like that. But again, when you've got the right guidance with you and people who are experienced and know how to navigate the landscape, it's so valuable. So yeah,
Mhm.
just the biggest challenges have been just learning the e-commerce landscape in general. I know that's very broad, but that really has been it. Just learning the ins and outs and how it all works.
Right. Are you still active at all within Ecommerce Campus, or have you basically learned everything there is to learn?
Yeah, yeah. So for me, the big value comes from the chats. So I did the course originally to learn exactly how to get everything set up and how to get started. Once I did that, um, as I say, the value came from the chats. It's when you can talk to people and you can get problems solved or even help other people as well. I like doing that sometimes as well, just going into sort of the beginner chats and helping some people out that, only a few months ago I was in their shoes, but now I'm in a position to help because of the things I've learned. But yeah, and as well as you progress, you sort of level up in the chat. So for me, I got entered into one of the advanced chats for people who have done like over 10K with e-commerce in the real world. For me, that was really, really valuable because it means I was put into a chat with people who were in similar sort of position to me, and I knew we're all serious. So the guys in there, they really, really help each other out. And there's some stuff in there, like I said, where if I was on my own, I wouldn't have had a clue what to do or where to turn. But I could go into those chats, and those guys can help me out straight away. So
Mhm.
that's where the real value is, in my opinion. It's the community and the chats. It's not in the course. The course will show you how to get started, but it's the chats that are valuable.
All right. Okay, like that. We have mentality, physicality. Is it worth asking spirituality? I know I didn't bring it up last time. Anything about spirituality in 6 months?
I mean, for me, not overly. I think I've always believed in God and things like that. Um, not overly much has changed in those 6 months. No.
Okay, completely fair. So I think we're good to wrap up then with a final question for people who are unsure about joining the real world because they think it could be a scam. What advice would you have to them?
It's going to be the same advice as last time. It's like look at the potential upside, look at the potential downside. It's like the potential downside is you lose $50 and you walk away, no big deal. The potential upside is you change your life forever, like I did. If you weigh those two up, the risk reward ratio, it favors giving it a try, like by a long way.
Okay. And now, if the people want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram. I'm not actually sure my tag off by heart, and same
I'll
on
add it
Twitter.
to the description. You can send
Yeah,
it to
yeah,
me.
just
And
in the description. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter.
okay, both tags will be in description. So anyone
Yeah.
interested, check that. All right. Nice catch up, Jacob. And
Yes.
look forward to the next one as well to see on your progress. Because
Yeah,
that's
that'd be
you've
cool as
made
well.
good progress already. I mean, from 9K to you said 160K, right? In revenue?
Yeah, I've done 160K now this year,
There you go.
so it's
So in
pretty
just
crazy.
6 months. So imagine in another even shorter time span, maybe 4 months or so, you'll
Yeah,
be
exactly, and especially with
solid.
Q4 approaching now, the
Mhm.
biggest season in e-commerce, Black Friday, Christmas. So I'm hoping to
Ah,
really scale hard here.
okay. Nice, nice. All the best with that. And yeah, look forward to hearing about it in the follow up.
Yeah, thanks very much, and thanks for your time, Rugas. Pleasure.